Hi there. I want to talk about some important stuff, and it's the little things that you carry. In part 1, we looked at all the Dinky stuff you carry in the pack, covered it very thoroughly. If you haven't seen that, find it and watch it. Watch that one first. Part 2, we're covering all the things in the first aid kit. We're going to cover each item very thoroughly. And we're also going to cover the things in the repair kit. Both the first aid kit and the repair kit are important, and every hiker should have one. And I also cover everything in the cook kit, covered in detail. A lot of information. Now, this is a piece of equipment I feel is required to take into the mountains or into the backcountry. This is a first aid kit. It's very simple. It weighs less than 2.5 ounces. Let me just go through and show you what I have in here. I'm going to dump all the contents out, one at a time. First thing is there is something called leukotape, and leukotape is this very breathable, sticky athletic tape. And what I have done is taken and cut the leukotape. Now when you get the leukotape in the store, it's this great big roll, and it's heavy, and there's no need to take all of this. So what I have done is this is what's called silicone release paper, and this is from a mailing envelope. I just got it at the Xerox shop. They have millions of these little things, and this is the sticky back paper that stickers come on. So the leukotape is all ready to go in this easy to apply format. So before I go into the mountains, I take a scissor, I cut some pieces at various lengths, and I have that all set up ready to go. I also take a small roll of just athletic tape. This is right from the drugstore, nothing fancy about that. I always carry a set of rubber gloves. These are just rubber exam gloves in case there is some sort of first aid situation that has blood and just a barrier. This is a very standard thing for any first aid kit. I also carry a few bandages. These are just normal band-aids right from the drugstore, nothing fancy here. I do carry something called wound closures or steri strips, sometimes referred to as butterfly closures. I carry 2 4x4 gauze pads, just in case there is an accident that requires that. It's nice to have something sterile in case you have to put a dressing on some sort of wound. I have a very small roll of roller gauze, just gauze that you can roll around something. And then also in here I have a few medications. The medications are pretty normal. This is ibuprofen, an anti-inflammatory. This is aspirin, an anti-pain or a pain relief medication. This is Benadryl, which is an antihistamine, which I think is important in case there's a situation with either a bee sting or some sort of allergic reaction in the mountains. And this is Imodium, which is an anti-diarrhea, and this can make life very comfortable for someone who's suffering. And the whole thing fits in this very simple Ziploc bag. This is a Ziploc bag I have used over and over and over again. This bag is old. There's no need for a stuff sack when a Ziploc bag will do. One more item that I feel is essential, and this is a simple repair kit. Now I'm going to open this up, go through it piece by piece. The first thing that I have in here is some fabric tape. This is available at any sewing store or sporting goods store. This is just fabric with a sticky backing on it. Nylon fabric, nylon ripstop fabric. Very useful in a lot of either repairing clothes or shelters. Also very useful is Tyvek tape. Now Tyvek tape is this amazing stuff. It comes in a great big fat roll, and you get it at the hardware store. What I have done is the same thing here. I've just cut out some little patches, rounded off the edges with a scissor. Did this at home, so I don't need to take a sharp knife in the field because I can do all my cutting at home if I plan ahead properly. And once again, it's just on this silicone release paper, and this paper is very easy to find at any Xerox shop or any place that does mailing for, let's say, FedEx. Also in the kit is a very simple sewing kit, not much in here. There's a few safety pins, some thread, and a few needles. Also in here is a tiny bit of string. I think this is actually a very valuable tool to carry in the field. String works, there's a lot of usage for that. And then I carry a little bit of glue. It's just a tiny bit of silicone repair adhesive, and this is pretty good for fixing shoes as well as fixing the nylon gear that you have. And then look at this cute little item. Super glue comes in these tiny, tiny, tiny one-use packages, and I found that super glue or crazy glue is great stuff to have in the mountains. Once again, it all fits in a simple Ziploc bag. And the final thing I want to show in close-up here is my cook kit. This is one of the few stuff sacks I'll take with me. And in the cook kit I have, this is my whole cooking setup, as well as my fuel. There's the lid. Now the alcohol stove fuel is carried in this platypus, and this platypus is just available at any sporting goods store. It's collapsible, so as you use it, it gets smaller in your pack. It's filled with denatured alcohol, and that's available at any hardware store. It has a simple little squirt lid that I got from a bottle of hot sauce. And this squirt lid makes it easy to fill the stove. Something about the properties of alcohol, it tends to spill differently than water, so it's very nice to have like a little teeny nozzle like that to pour from. When I travel, I carry the entire thing in an extra plastic bag. This is just adding a tiny bit of security to something that may get poked or pop. So for minimal weight, I can add the plastic bag around this whole thing. In the kit, I have, let's start with a stove. This is a very simple stove made out of a Fancy Feast cat food can. Andrew Skirka, Ultralight Superstar, showed me how to make this. This is a pretty cool little unit. He has an excellent video on how to make this on his website. I usually keep the lighter in with the cook set. I showed you the lighter in my Dinky stuff, but I would usually keep that lighter in with my cook set. Obviously a spoon. This is a titanium spoon, very light, and one of the nice things about the titanium spoon is that this straight edge here is great for cleaning out the mug when there's caked on food. I do carry a pot grabber. This is an MSR lightweight pot grabber. A little bit of extra weight, but I find that the thought of burning myself in the backcountry is just too scary, and I know a lot of people will use cotton gloves or a wool glove to handle hot things, but I just prefer to use a grabber. My mug comes with a homemade insulator. This is just a simple cozy. I made it myself out of the glue and Ensolite foam, or Evazote foam. And then the reason I have that is because when the thing is hot, I want it to stay hot, because oftentimes the stuff that I cook in the field will require a little bit of extra time in the mug in order to fully cook. So that way I don't have to chew crunchy instant rice. I can actually eat the rice in a more palatable form. Thus the cozy. This is a windscreen. This windscreen is nothing more than aluminum foil right from my kitchen. And this lid is nothing more than aluminum foil from the kitchen. And here's how the stove would work. I'm not going to light it for you now, but I'll show you. I would take this stove, fill it with fuel, and this is where that little squirt lid comes in handy, because you can fill it much easier and much more efficiently with this little squirt lid than you can if you just tried to pour it. The properties of the alcohol tend to dribble all over the place if you don't have this squirt lid. I would then light the stove, let it get a little warm, set my mug of water on top, little flames shoot out of those holes. I would create a little windscreen and a little efficiency like this, and then I would put a lid on top. All the pieces that make up this stove kit are extremely light, and it makes for a very, very efficient little package. And there you have it. In part one, we saw everything in this little bag here, and that means the Dinky stuff, the important stuff that you need. You just finished seeing the repair kit and the first aid kit. All that stuff is important. It doesn't take much. It takes just a little bit of pre-planning, and then you reap the benefits when you have the light pack on your back in the mountains. It's a hugely rewarding experience. And also, the cook kit, all nice and light, goes into my light pack, and I'll see you in the mountains.